And we want people to leave this fairgrounds with more knowledge about agriculture than when they came. So we give them a little something on a stick that's deep fried and has a little maybe chocolate sauce on it, but we want to teach you the story of agriculture to go along with it.
Welcome to Agbioscience, the #1 podcast in the world for innovation in food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Welcome back to Agbioscience. I'm Kayla Chittister, producer of the podcast. And this week, we brought her back. Kenda Resler Friend, KRF Public Relations. Hey, big guest this week.
Huge. When you get the executive director of the state fair during the state fair, that's a lot. So joy to have Cindy on the show.
She gave us her time to talk about the sound of summer, everything happening at the Indiana State Fair during the Indiana State Fair. Would love to hear your thoughts on the conversation.
So again, Cindy has an amazing team where they're so focused on listening to the customer. That's you and me. That's everybody that comes to the fair. They really are, like this year, they're really focused on value. What more free things can we add for little kids to really help a parent, feel through a big day? And so again, I just love how Cindy and the team have worked on so many great things. We talked about the competitions, the family-owned businesses, how the fairgrounds is an economic engine, which we know Agrinovus is all about. So yeah, lots of great things to talk about.
And it's this opportunity for consumers to really get this idea of what agriculture is and what innovation goes into the food they consume.
We're pulling back the curtain. We do Pioneer Village, which shows days gone by that may remind them of Grandma and Grandpa. But then you walk over to the glass barn and see the drones and see the technology and the food scanners. And yeah, it's a beautiful way to put all the pieces together.
It really is. And I think these 15 days are a great representation of what happens the other, 350 days of the year that we know about.
Right.
And it's great that we get people on the grounds here at the Indiana State Fair to experience that.
What a beautiful asset.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking with Cindy. You're a 2-time guest host. That is a record now.
Oh, I do like sitting. I'm a competitor, so I do like that.
You and Eric Pfeiffer.
Okay, I'm
competing for top
Eric
spot.
and I are going to have a chat.
You're going to have to elbow him.
I can do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kenda. Please enjoy this week's conversation with Cindy Hoye, Executive Director of the Indiana State Fair on Agbioscience.
Well, it is always a great day at the Indiana State Fair, and I can't think of a better person to talk about it with than our amazing Cindy Hoye, Executive Director of the Indiana State Fair.
Well, it's great to be here. I'm not sure the amazing part.
Oh,
but
I think so.
Anytime I get to talk about the Indiana State Fair is a good day for me.
It's a good day.
Yes.
So, Cindy, we're in a little bit of a time warp because you and I are sitting here truly in the smack dab middle of the fair, and this episode will air at the end of the fair. So we're kind of in a little bit of a time warp. We're going to talk about all the great things going on, and then when our friends watch this later in August, they can just reflect with us on how great it was.
Well, or they can get ready for the next year because rumor has it we are going to put on another fair after this.
Oh, Cindy, I'm already thinking about my recipes for 26.
I know, right?
Right? We have these things
actually,
to do.
We do the same. We plan the next year. I'm like, right now we have talked about 2 major attractions that we're thinking about already booking for next year. So it never stops.
It never
right?
stops.
No, for
nonstop fair.
Right.
So this is the soundtrack of summer,
right?
Which has been fascinating and wonderful. And now maybe I'm listening more just to hear all the sounds. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about your perspective on this year's fair, the time-honored traditions, and then what were some of the new elements you brought to bring it all together?
Yeah, I think you have to start with the whole theme, right? So each year we try and bring a theme to life. And this year it's the soundtrack of summer. But think about the soundtrack of the fair then. So take it down to even just the fair. So you think about the sounds of the tractors going around the complex, the saltwater taffy cranking in those concession stands. You walk into the swine barn and you hear the baby pigs and the sows and then the kids getting ready to show their animals. So there's so much noise that we just felt like sound would be a good thing to resonate for this year. And one of the things we always do is we try and elevate some kind of attraction that supports a theme. And this year it is a vinyl vinyl revival exhibit that we put on in the Harvest Pavilion. And it's the old vinyl album covers, but then brought to life. So they're massive. And then some are small, and they're interactive places where people could pick their 10 top favorite albums of all time. My grandson, who is 13, bought an Abbey Road album when he was in this space, right?
Love it.
So it's generation to generation, and that's what we try and look at too, is building those memories and building those traditions for families year after year after year.
I'll admit we spent some time in there, and my husband and son were going back and forth between AC/DC and I forget who, right? But again, beautiful way to talk about the sounds. And then as we sit here in a very historic building, there's the time-honored things. Talk about what are some of your favorite traditions or favorite spots on the fairgrounds?
Well, again, if you think about it, this is also what we think about behind the scenes is the blend. So we want to blend those old traditions that you and your family love, whether it's, I always stop and go to the dairy bar and get that shake that we always do every year. But we also have to give you and your family something new to think about, participate in, do. And we activate a lot of that through entertainment. So this year you have the B Window brings to you the Big Top Circus, which is a brand new attraction for this year. We bring entertainment that is different every year. And so it always is just a challenge to bring the blend of the old and the new. We always try and bring 20 to 30% new, but keep the things that you and your family know and love. So that's in addition to the theme, one of those things that we are very intentional about. We do market research every year to really understand what the customer's feedback is. And we take that feedback and we are very intentional on that feedback. So we take a look at, for example, last year the customer said, hey, I'm not sure we're getting enough value for our entry fee that we are charged. So that's why we brought you the free circus. That's why we've added more entertainment. The kids on the north side, we have a jump pad for them. Just more and more things that are free for people to see and do. And so we take that research on top of blending the old and the new, making sure that you have those time-honored traditions. I always go through that soybean glass barn and get my bean there, done
yes,
that
you do.
hat, right? But then we also have to give you something new and different that causes you to make that decision to come to the fair.
It's like a good lemon shake-up. You shake it all up, and there's all good things in there,
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
So I know, like the wolves of the world, I've seen young families enjoying back there, and that really is it's a beautiful balance of all the things that people who come every year and folks. Actually, this weekend, I am bringing my brand new pastor who's never been to a state fair.
Oh, I love it when rookies come.
We're bringing
right?
a rookie. It's going to be so
great. Oh my gosh, that is fun. That is
going to
really
be
good.
so
but,
great.
You know, the other thing that's really funny, Kendra, is that, I've been here for a number of years. And when I started, the first thing that, again, in our market research, the number one attraction was the animals. That is the reason that people made the decision to come. Now it's food.
Okay.
So we always, again, have to draw you in for some way, whether it's food or entertainment. But then while you're here, we want to educate you about the importance of agriculture to not only to all of us, but the state of Indiana and its relevancy. So Corteva brings in a farm family of the day. We elevate that story that farm family is telling. And we want people to leave this fairgrounds with more knowledge about agriculture than when they came. So we give them a little something on a stick that's deep fried and has a little maybe chocolate sauce on it. But we want to teach you the story of agriculture to go along with it.
I love that. I just love the evolution. And you have been here a few decades. That's beautiful to think about how you've stayed current with the times, right? And understanding what people want to see and do and hear and taste.
Right.
And all the different things that come along with this 15-day party.
Right. And it's interesting. The customer experience and the customer's lens continues to sharpen. So the expectations are, for example, the entry into this place needs to be cleaner. It needs to be more seamless. We built a new gate structure this past year off of Fall Creek, Gate 5. So a nicer way to come in, a better experience. So that customer experience is always driving our decisions too, making sure that we are hitting those marks.
Outstanding. And again, I think you or someone have told me it was kind of parking and bathrooms. You got to get that stuff right?
That is number one, right? Exactly. Yes. And parking is a challenge. So what we try and do is say, hey, what are the alternatives? What's an easier way to get to the fair? So the Purple Line, for example, is a brand new way to come to the fair. The trails that surround the fairgrounds are what an easy way to come in with your family, riding a bike or taking a walk, parking a little distance, and then taking those trails in. So and the other message that we always want to encourage people, especially if they're coming on the weekends, is you got to come early.
Come early.
You need to have left the house by 9 o'clock, and you need to get here by 10 o'clock.
There it is. And then it's cool, and you kind of have the place to yourself a little bit. And let's go back and talk about animals. I know you've done a really wonderful job of having animals here every single day of the fair. Kind of tell us about your animal strategy.
Yeah, while it may not be the top thing on your list of the reason to come, you want them to be here.
Yes.
And we know that from our customer. So a couple things were really intentional. For example, the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion, very intentional about putting sow and litters at the very front. And it's a partnership with Purdue Animal Science and the vet school to make sure that immediately when you're walking in the doors, you have the opportunity to experience the animals. That's in every livestock barn. So even if a barn is turning over, even if a barn one day has goats, the next day has draft horses, those animals are on display so that just in case you're on a draft horse day, but you knew that there were llamas and alpacas in that building before, they're on display. So that's intentional. On the north side, we've continued to elevate the experience of animals. So start with Goat Mountain near the DNR area, right? And the parakeets that are on the north side. FFA has animals that are on display. The Mac Reynolds barn now has Mama Town. So
wow, I was in there this weekend and it was nonstop with little kids. Oh my gosh, look, Mommy, it's a goat.
Right. And then having a Purdue vet student interacting with the public and telling them or answering questions that they might have. Pioneer Village has animals that are on display. This is the first year in Little Hands on the Farm that we have live animals as a part of that experience too. And then the horse barns, there is a barn that has horse tours in there. So again, what we want to try and do is as you traverse around the property that you have an opportunity to intersect with that live animal. And then the crescendo moment might be with a Purdue vet student or maybe the featured farm family of the year so you have that interaction.
Just real live conversation.
Right?
Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. So you mentioned Pioneer Village. Just kind of talk about the history that brings and contrast that with our friends at our soybean friends at the Glass Barn. We kind of have the past, the present, and kind of the future, don't we?
Right, exactly. And that's what we want to do. We do a beautiful job, I think. Again, a collaboration with Purdue Ag alumni. About 60 years ago, we started this collaboration underneath a grandstand, Maury Williamson and his vision, right? And we moved it then to the north side. And it is just this lovely, historical, fun memory moment about farming, maybe like in, I don't know, what do you think, 1950s?
In the 50s, maybe even a little earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
But you see that equipment operating and you see what it took during the day. And then you're able to walk from there over to the Indiana Soybean Glass Barn and learn about production agriculture today, right?
The drones, the technology, the combine in the middle, right?
Right. And it's a space for, kids can and families can do selfies at the same time. They can learn about GMOs. They can learn about some of the challenges and the issues that are affecting today's farmers real time. And what a great opportunity for that to happen.
What a great, beautiful way to bring it all together. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. So great. Well, let's see. There's so many things I want to ask you about the fair. Cindy, do you have a favorite fair food? You probably can't. It's like asking you who your favorite child is, isn't it?
Right.
We don't dare do that.
No, we don't dare do that.
Yes.
I always answer that question because I really feel strongly about this. One of the things that I love about this fair is that we elevate the Indiana commodities and we bring their story to life. So you can purchase a ribeye from the Beef Cattle Association. And we talked about the dairy bar and their products. The pork producers. I mean, it goes without saying,
Yes.
you got to have a pork sandwich,
Yeah,
right?
must.
Pork burger is one of my favorites. So I love that. But then I always love the new clever food that these concessionaires come up with. And kind of a backstory, I think, is interesting. You don't really think about it as you're getting your deep fried Oreo, is that is a local Indiana, Main Street, Indiana small business that is here and making a living at the Indiana State Fair. And if you think about the whole complex, 120 of these small Indiana businesses that rely on the great Indiana State Fair in order to make a living.
For a big chunk of their living.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, and then you go into the mercantile, and that's a lot of Indiana companies, and it features Indiana grown in the centerpiece. And so we sometimes take for granted that story of, well, I have 3 major Indiana family companies from McCarty's. McCarty's is the feed and the bedding company.
Okay.
So all the animals have to be fed and have to eat something.
Yes.
All the animals need to be bedded. And the manure needs to be removed
Yes,
and
it does,
recycled.
right?
Right. And so that's McCarty's, a local company from Mooresville, Indiana. You think about Danny Houston and the carnival.
Right.
The carnival is from Farmland, Indiana.
How great is that?
It is the largest company in the mobile amusement business that operates in North America. So they operate a lot of the carnivals in Canada as well as North America, or as well as the United States. Again, a small Indiana family business. Urick's Concessions is another one. Urick's is from Carmel, Indiana, and it started out a woman-owned business. She started small here, a couple concession stands, and has now grown to be a force out here.
Absolutely.
With all these different locations that have these wonderful moments of showcasing Indiana food. Another one that I think is kind of a best kept secret about the Indiana State Fairgrounds, and that is High and Mighty. It's a distillery that is on the property.
Right.
Again, a local small business that has made the fairgrounds their home.
And speaking of farmers, we should probably take a quick break and thank our friends at Indiana Farm Bureau for sponsoring this podcast.
Need affordable health coverage? Indiana Farm Bureau health plans offer health benefits with options to fit everyone. Indiana Farm Bureau health plans give members a choice with multiple plans, many provider options, varying levels of coverage and deductibles, and a range of out-of-pocket maximums. Another great benefit about Indiana Farm Bureau health plans is cost effectiveness. Plans may have lower deductibles and premiums overall compared to ACA plans. And finally, all health plans are backed by excellent customer service. Go to infbhealthplans.com or visit your local Indiana Farm Bureau insurance office to learn more.
I know we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about another element of the fair, and that's all the competitions, from band day to culinary arts to, of course, all the work, amazing work being done by the 4-Hers. Talk about kind of some of the different ways that you're lifting up what people's skills.
Right. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think that's what separates us from an Apple festival or a Covered Bridge festival or another kinds of music festivals. What we try and do is provide a platform for competition so that you can compete with your children, bring your aunts and uncles to see what the quilt that you've made. Or
All the things.
What was it? The brownie. What were you making this year?
A peanut butter cookie did really well.
Yeah, there we go. So I mean, I think that is so from county fairs to state fairs, that is the backdrop, an important element of what we can bring to the table is opportunity for people to compete in whatever space that might be. And then what is again one of those stories that I think a lot of people don't really understand. So we have these competitions with livestock. They go on to compete in the Grand Drive or the Supreme Drive, right? So it's the grand champions that are selected, reserve grands, and then they are then elevated this fall to the Celebration of Champions. So all those winners come in, all those kids that have won, they come in and they are awarded cash prizes for the achievements that they have made and the success that they have had with agriculture and showing their livestock and other kinds of competitions too.
I actually had the honor of judging junior demonstrations here at the fair. And the young man who gave the amazing demonstration on how to dribble a basketball, he won. It was riveting. And again, he's a champion.
Right.
And he taught me a lot. And then the teams were two young men who were about how to scramble an egg. So again, elevating those kids and their public speaking skills and being on that stage is scary. And these kids just have so much gumption to get up there and do it.
Right. We were talking about that the other day, and we were meeting with the state FFA officer team and just the life skills that participating in 4-H, participating in FFA brings you to be able to speak with a microphone or to stand up and run a business session of some sort. So these skills that these youth are learning that we are recognizing during the fair is very, very cool. Very
and I love you
positive.
so giving them a platform, right? This is the thing you strive for, you work for, you kind of get to keep your eye on the prize and you interact with the judges, you learn what you did well. Again, it's really that whole learning thing.
Exactly.
Right, that comes together.
Isn't that what 4-H motto is? Learn by doing?
Exactly. Oh, look at you.
I remember it.
You've got it right.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, and thinking about youth leadership, our FFA state officers are here on the grounds with their fun pavilion of putt-putt golf and all that. You probably have, and they're part of your team. Cindy, talk about your team. You clearly have a magical team putting all this together.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say that. We have 84 full-time employees, half professional staff, half labor, that work throughout the year to put this on. From that full-time team, then we have a part-time team for about 200. So at the fairgrounds, we have over 400 events that happen. So the fair is one of those 400 events. And so that team is important not only for the fair, but for our year-round operation too. During the fair, we add another 600 part-time workers or what we call seasonal workers that come in and work for the fair. We work with not-for-profit groups that help us run gates, help us in parking lots, help us in different areas, concession stands, and so forth. And then if you think about the barns are completely staffed with those part-time fair workers because each little area on the fairgrounds takes kind of an army, a back-of-house army to make it all happen.
It really does. And what a great opportunity for having been the mother of a choir kid who parked cars.
Yes.
Again, a great way, more community outreach, right? Really helping those kids raise money for their thing in a special way and doing it in a super special place.
Right, exactly. Very well said.
Wonderful. And so, Cindy, we can't predict the weather, and opening weekend. Amazing.
So opening weekend, I just thank the Lord. It was just magical. Speaking of magic, I mean, it was I woke up, it was 60, and then I think the high of the day was 72.
I brought a jacket.
It was amazing, right? So people stay longer. Which is a good thing because they get to experience more of the fair and take more of the fair. On the more challenging for us operationally, there isn't as much of a turnover of people, so it backs up traffic a little bit in that normal turnover. But extremely grateful for beautiful weather, and that's what on the days that it gets a little hotter, I keep pushing. Come early when it's a little bit cooler, or come in the evening when it's a little bit cooler as well.
I had a neighbor this morning tell me she and her husband brought their kids on $2 Tuesday a little bit later on, and the young man from the back seat said, "I got a Snickers." So again, those things,
Right?
are those days, the promotions and all the marketing, and really, you all are really, to your point, this facility isn't 15 days; it's 365 days
Right.
being used, being part of our state fabric.
Yeah, I think the unsung story of this place is it was built for a purpose, for a mission, which is to elevate youth and what they've accomplished at the same time to tell the story of agriculture, right? But we can no longer build Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion just for pigs.
Correct.
So what we have to do is maximize the usage of this 250-acre campus. What do? So we're going to go from pigs, we're going to turn it over, and we're going to go to the Meekum car auction. And this is going to be filled with state-of-the-art vehicles that are auctioned off. We're going to come back, clean it out, and we're going to host the World Food Championships in this pavilion. And that's going to run for 4 days. We're going to clean it out. We're going to come back with 12 volleyball courts that happen here. So again, it's just maximizing this use. It is trying to get to the point where we're earning enough money to operate that we don't have to ride on the backs of the taxpayers, but we just can operate solely on the earned revenue that we make, and then get the state support to help us on some of these major capital infrastructure that we need to do. I mean, really, if you think about it, this place is an economic engine. We generate about $330 million in economic impact.
Wow.
We're a job equivalency of 1,100 people because of what we're doing here and how we are growing the economy. We're growing the tax base for Indiana, and so we're lifting up this institution as a not only historic, important institution for the fabric of Indiana, but also for people throughout Indiana too.
Which is beautiful, and really just the connectivity, right?
Yes.
People being exposed to these things here at the fair or during the World Food Championship, or all the different ways people can engage with their Indiana State Fairgrounds.
Right. Exactly, and that's what we're trying to do. I think the total is probably about 2 million people a year.
Wow.
Come on this campus for something. Excuse me. Whether it's high school graduations, we host about 12 of those. The Meekum car auction that I referenced, and that happens a couple times a year. Those famous gift and hobby show, flower and patio, home show, the boat sport and travel, those traditional shows that happen. Another one of those that we are just involved with a lot of people have gone to the Christmas light show that happens in the winter here. The State Fair Commission just recently invested into that product, and so we're actually going to host the Christmas light show going forward. And that attracts, 150,000 people that come through that magical experience.
Oh, it's wonderful. We brought our dog one year.
Right.
And to sit in the car and go through, and it's just...
With all the music, isn't it fun?
And the oohs and the ahs, and it's great.
I know.
When you can get everybody in the car together talking to each other, that's a win.
And I think, and to also go back to what you said earlier, I think is really important. You said to stay relevant, not only for the fair, but our year-round campus too. How can it be relevant and important for not only the community, the city, but the state of Indiana too? And so that's what we're constantly trying to do, is elevate this place, elevate it as making sure it's relevant, maybe making sure it's supporting those events and attractions that happen in the city and throughout Indiana.
So coming back to the State Fair, Cindy, I am just incredibly curious. Take me through a day in the life of Cindy Hoye during the Indiana State Fair.
Oh my!
What time do you get up?
Well, it's probably, oh my goodness. It varies, right?
Every day's different.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we're launching the balloons, we're probably launching them at 7. I probably need to be here about 6. A day that is a more quieter day, I like to get into the office a little bit early and do catch up on emails and things that need to happen for the day. But we always start our day with a fair board meeting. So the fair board gets together. They talk about what worked yesterday, what some of the challenges are going to be this coming day, They talk about the activity in the barns, the competitions that are happening, and any things that they're encouraging the staff team to help tweak. So we do that. Another one of those important elements for me throughout the day is every day at 2:00 we do an operational briefing. So we start with the fair board that's looking at things at probably 10,000
Right.
feet. This operational briefing is all our public safety partners, and safety is our number one priority. So this means the state police, Department of Homeland Security, IMPD, Red Cross. I mean, the list goes on, food safety. And we gather together at 2:00, and we have an emergency action plan established for the day. So again, we take a look at what our challenges were from the day before, and then what is forward thinking, what's going to be happening. Are we staffed up for it? Do we have the right people in place? Do we have the right equipment that needs to be there? Any kind of anomaly that's going to happen. It happens very quickly, this briefing, but it's very significant, and it's very important for us to make sure that we are all in alignment and all in sync, making sure that our team's safe, our exhibitors are safe, but mostly the customers are safe as well.
And back to collaboration,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
many great partners.
And then I try to attend. I try and pop into as many things as I can, so I can put. Probably a visual learner.
Okay.
I don't know if you're kind of in that same boat or not, but eyes are better. So I really like to. Last night, Babyface was performing on the free stage to see 4,000 people standing up and singing and just in line with the music, to going over to the basketball court and watching the alums from the City League that were competing in a basketball game, to Pioneer Village that is gathering for their nightly dinner. I mean, those are magical moments for me, just to see those things. But I also get really juiced and energized when I come in the morning. I like to walk through all the barns.
Okay.
It grounds me. It makes me like, this is why we're here.
This is it.
This is it. And it gives goosebumps. It is the mom and dad that are filled with excitement because the 12-year-old is getting ready to show their pig, and the aunt and the uncle and the grandfather and the grandmother are just filled with pride and so excited as they're sitting in the stands, and that anxious kind of feeling that is happening. And really, again, it gives me this is it.
This is it.
This is why we're here. Mm-hmm. This is what our purpose is.
Right.
And I love doing that. And so, yeah, days are filled. I've got some important people that are coming by. I just watched the lieutenant governor just walk by. I mean, you just never know who's going to be here.
Right.
Who's going to show up, and love. And as you talked about earlier, love to show new people around, and also just great friends at the fair too. So spend a lot of time with them.
And I think I've talked about this kind of is the Super Bowl of agriculture for Indiana.
Oh my goodness,
right? You're going to see everybody we know.
Yes. Well, and I always start with this story, which I think, again, grounds us, and this is what we're all about. And it was in 1850. So the first fair was 1852. Indiana's the sixth oldest state fair in the country. In 1857, the president, Abraham Lincoln, went to the Wisconsin State Fair. Obviously, he didn't know how great Indiana was. I mean,
we'll forgive
missed
him.
that one. But he went there and he was talking about how important fairs were as an opportunity to gather together and share information. Again, 1800s, mid-1800s, not the kind of communication tools that we have today. So how did farmers share best practices? How did they gather together and look at new equipment and learn things together? And fairs were the platform for that to happen. And then let's spring ahead 150 plus years later, and this is a place for a farmer to connect with a consumer and for the consumer to understand a little bit more about where their food is coming from.
It brings it all together.
Right?
It does.
Yes.
It does. So, Cindy, when this podcast comes out, the
Yes.
fair will be done. And we know,
Sad.
right? Sad, but I bet you can put your feet up for a hot second. But tell us then what maybe comes next. And again, you mentioned you're always planning, always thinking, but what might be on the horizon for the great Indiana State Fair and Fairgrounds?
Right. What is on the horizon? We have a very robust master plan, so we're always dreaming about the future. Whether they're the old assets that we want to convert into more relevant assets. For example, the grandstand is one. Has it run its useful life, and is it ready for a refresh? So we have a laundry list of those that can happen. We also want to continue to add to the product. So if you think about it, over the years, we've added the glass barn, the covered bridge. We've added the basketball court. Those are Indiana kind of like heartland kinds of things, right? So there's more in the queue of like, how can we showcase Indiana and what more products can we add? And again, let's go back to, let's keep things relevant. Let's add new things that make the customer experience a better journey through their great Indiana State Fair while keeping those time-honored traditions that we love.
What a special place. Well, we have taken up plenty of your time on a special day. So, Cindy, what a joy to spend time with you. And thank you and your team for all you do. And friends, always put the great Indiana State Fair in your summer to-do list.
There we go. Thank you.
And thank everyone for listening to this episode of the Indiana Agbioscience Podcast.
Agbioscience is a podcast by Agrinovis, Indiana, brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau. Produced by Kayla Chittister and Fabian Rodriguez. Photography and design by Kaylee Verstay. Video by Darren Cooper and 1898 Creative. If you like today's episode, subscribe, rate, listen, and review. Get all episodes of Agbioscience online at agrinovisindiana.com.